Right now at 5, first responders in Carthage fight a house fire.
After we set off our own fireworks, Mother Nature bringing some of her own today. We'll take a look at that forecast coming up.
And the oldest survivor of the Tulsa massacre looks to share her story and make sure that history is not forgotten.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So we've had some strong thunderstorms out there and even some damage reports as well, at least one so far, and we have more on the way as we go through today. So let's take a look at the Skywatch Storm Tracker, and we can see where right now the good news is we're just dealing with some heavy rain out there with some thunderstorm activity, but earlier this morning, this batch rolled through southeast Kansas, now getting into northeast Oklahoma. Got a few pop-up little cells over in parts of southwest Missouri. No severe weather at this time. Those storms in Oklahoma are a little bit on the stronger side. Across southeast Kansas, just some good heavy rain, a few rumbles of thunder out there. This activity is starting to pick up a bit out near Wichita. There was a severe thunderstorm warning out there, but that has since expired. And we've had one damage report so far in La Harpe of a house that had fallen, or a tree that had fallen on a house, not a house onto a tree, but still that was an indication as to some of the stronger winds that we had this morning. If you look at the radar, you can see that line out ahead of that. That was a gust front coming off these storms. Even on my way in, we're talking 40, 45 mile an hour wind gusts off that. So what we'll do is we're going to get this first batch out of here, and then we'll see additional thunderstorm development as we go through the morning. And some of these storms could be strong to severe. Then we'll get a pause in the activity, and we'll start to see just a few scattered storms in the afternoon, and then we go later into the evening and into the overnight hours, and additional thunderstorms are expected to develop, and some of those could be strong, possibly severe, as we head into our Thursday morning, or overnight tonight into Thursday morning. Right now, very low tornado risk, no areas highlighted. We've got an elevated hail risk for parts of southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma. Everybody in that elevated wind risk, and damaging winds do seem to be the primary concern with today's storms. We've got that low wind risk for the first part of our Thursday for any of those remnant thunderstorms overnight, and then we go back to an elevated risk for a good chunk of the area as we head into our Friday. So we're getting rain. Unfortunately, we're just getting it with some thunderstorms. Right now, MoDOT camera 20th and Range Line. The roads are wet. Same from the KDOT camera at 69 and East 520th Avenue, and of course from our camera at 7th and Range Line. Right now in Joplin, it is cloudy. You're in a pause from the rain. Dew point, humidity, both up there, and that's the way it's going to be. Temperatures around the area, 69 Fort Scott, 66 in Iola, 70 up in Chanute, 71 Miami, 71 Neosho Monette, and 70 in Carthage. As we get our morning started, again, we'll have those thunderstorms continuing through, temperatures hovering in the low 70s, and I wanted to put a little star next to today's high. That is going to be dependent on who sees rain, for how long, and how much cloud cover. We're looking to potentially reach the low 90s, at least some of us, but some of us may not make it out of the low to mid 80s. So that is all highly dependent on how much warming we can do after the morning batch of showers and thunderstorms roll through. We'll continue with those into the afternoon and again into the evening, and we'll stay mild overnight, temperatures dropping back to 75. Of course, as I mentioned, no strong or severe storms in our area right now, but if that changes, we'll let you know. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. First responders battle an afternoon house fire in Carthage. On Tuesday, firefighters responded to the Breckenwood neighborhood of Carthage just before 1:15 p.m. Upon arrival, authorities described the scene as fully involved, meaning it had spread to multiple rooms. The family had made it out safely out of the house. No firefighters were injured. Chief Ryan Huntley says spent fireworks had been placed in a trash can next to the structure. He said that area is where the fire originated. A crash in Berry County, Missouri sends one person to the hospital in serious condition. The crash happened on July 4th at around 7 p.m., 1 mile west of Golden, Missouri. 2012 Honda Civic skidded and traveled off the right side of the roadway and struck a 2014 Mazda 2. The Mazda then struck a pedestrian. The driver of the Mazda was airlifted to an area hospital. No word on the pedestrian. 3 people are arrested in connection with the burglary of a Lamar business. Police in Lamar were alerted to a couple of burglaries at a business. In response, they stayed ready for another break-in, which happened early in the morning last Thursday. When officers reached the business, they noticed 2 people leaving the building with stolen property. Authorities say those two men were Derek Caton of Columbus and Frank Cheney of Pittsburgh. Caton and Cheney were arrested and charged with burglary. A third suspect was arrested in connection to the previous burglaries. Well, the oldest living survivor of the Tulsa Race Massacre is sharing her story in a memoir entitled "Don't Bury My Story." Viola Fletcher writes about the 1921 tragedy. At 109 years old, Fletcher remembers when a white mob ran through Tulsa's Greenwood district, killing hundreds of people and destroying homes. Fletcher was only 7 when it happened. She says it wasn't something people talked about as she grew up. She believes you're never too old to tell your story. Well, a Texas man is found alive 8 years after he vanished while walking his dogs. He was 17 years old at the time. As Corley Peel reports, there's still many questions surrounding his disappearance.
The search for 17-year-old Rudy Farias is now over. 8 years after he was last seen, the now 25-year-old's family says he is found safe.
How'd this happen? Oh, we believe in miracles, and this certainly was a miracle.
Tim Miller is the director for Texas EquiSearch. He is one of several people who helped search high and low for Farias.
Can't even tell you how many times we've searched and how many leads and tips came in, and then they just kind of faded away, and we heard nothing, and now all of a sudden this.
Investigators say he disappeared in March 2015. He was last seen walking his 2 dogs. The dogs were found, but Farias was not. At the time, loved ones said he suffered from PTSD, depression, and asthma.
I'm scared because he's out there alone by himself.
Miller says they followed up on every tip.
In the very beginning, I met with a family and detectives out there by his house where he disappeared, and we found a backpack. We actually talked to somebody who had one of the catering trucks, which felt as though that they saw him and stuff. Then there was different possible sightings in different places.
Miller says he never would have imagined Farias is still alive.
I think now, there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of investigation to kind of see what happened, where it happened, how it happened.
Again, there's still a lot of questions about how he disappeared, and loved ones say Rudy Farias is still in the hospital right now. But again, we are working to find out more answers to these questions.
Investigators plan to talk to him further this week. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, the Outlaws put on their red, white, and blues and take on the Nevada Griffins for some 4th of July baseball. Plus, a Virginia couple that's been together for 60 years renews their vows. And why brushing your teeth at night is just as important as when you wake up. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Well, Independence Day in the 4 states means a lot of things. Parades, cookouts, fireworks at night, and of course, baseball. Yesterday afternoon, the Joplin Outlaws continue the tradition of baseball on the 4th when they took the field against the Nevada Griffins for the 2nd day in a row. Outlaws and Griffins ready to do it again, starting at 2 yesterday, wearing the special Stars and Stripes jerseys for the 4th of July. Bottom of the 1st, Will Kelly at the plate with 2 men on. Sun causing some problems for the Nevada fielders. That'll drop down and bring in 2 runs. Outlaws take an early 3-0 lead after 1 inning. So we're going to go to the bottom of the 2nd. Garrett Chun at the plate. Skies 1 to left field. Griffins outfielder Clay Palin from Missouri Baptist tracks it all the way, makes a great catch right against the fence to end the inning. Top of the 3rd, Griffins get within 1 run after this single into center field by Carter Gallagher. That makes it a 3-2 ball game. We'll go to the bottom of the 3rd. Outlaws still up 1. Kelly at the plate. Looks like we've seen this before, but Ben Lloyd fights the sun and makes the catch to retire the side. Back on the hill, Steen Lane was locked in for the rest of this one. Gets the strikeout in the top of the 4th. He gets the win. Outlaws offense comes to life late. They run away with it, extend their win streak to 6. Well, still to come, a letter written by a passenger of the Titanic sells at auction in Uruguay. Plus, we're going to take another look at that stormy forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 5:15 on this Wednesday morning. So we do have our severe threat for today. Very low tornado risk, which is good news. We do have an elevated hail risk for parts of southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma, and everybody in this elevated wind risk. So we're looking primarily at the threat being strong damaging wind gusts. So we're talking 60, 70 miles an hour with some of these thunderstorms. And the severe threat isn't just today. We've got the elevated risk for everyone today, a lower risk for the first half of our Thursday with some remnant storms, and then we go back to an elevated risk for a good portion of us on our Friday. Right now, MoDOT camera 20th and range line. We're calm for the time being, but more showers and storms on the way. Same from the KDOT camera at 69 and East 520th Avenue just south of Pittsburgh. Our camera 7th and range line. It's dark out there and it is cloudy. We're sitting at 70 in Joplin right now with a high dew point and humidity with additional storms again on the way. Got 71 Pittsburgh, 70 Chanute, 69 in Parsons, 71 Miami, Neosho, Monette, and 70 in Carthage and Lamar. Now, as we get our morning started, we're going to have these thunderstorm chances that'll continue through our morning hours, and we're going to hover right around the low 70s through the morning. Now, I wanted to talk about our high. Our forecast high, believe it or not, is the low 90s, but there's a little caveat to that. It's going to be highly dependent on how much rain, how much cloud cover we get. Some of us may wrap up the rain a little earlier and get a little longer pause, and that will allow a few of us to make it into the low 90s, while some of us may stay a little cloudier, a little rainier longer, and may not make it out of the low to mid 80s. But either way, a warm day with those scattered thunderstorm chances as we head through the afternoon and into the evening hours as well. And again, some of these could be strong, possibly severe. We look to get another break late evening before another larger round of showers and thunderstorms begins to move in later tonight into the overnight hours and then into our Thursday morning as well, at least through the 11 o'clock noon hour tomorrow. We're going to be mid 70s tonight, and again, additional thunderstorm chances out there as well. As we look ahead, we're going to continue again the thunderstorm chances in the morning, mid 80s tomorrow. So this is that brief cool down we've talked about as we hang out in the 80s. We'll have those scattered thunderstorm chances Friday. Again, some of those could be strong, possibly severe. Additional storms possible Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. However, despite those increasing storm chances, or at least the remaining storm chances, temperatures will continue to rise as well as we climb back low to mid 90s, upper 90s. Thunderstorm chances, though, stick with us all the way through Thursday of next week. We'll see another brief cool down to the mid 80s before the 90s return by the end of next week. And a very quick look at the Skywatch storm tracker. Just want to show you what we're looking at right now. We've got those thunderstorms across the area, some good showers out there, and we are continuing to really pay attention to this activity out near Wichita, just right outside our area. For these thunderstorms, they have been strong this morning, and we'll continue to keep an eye on them for you. Well, not many marriages reach this milestone, but a Virginia couple is marking their diamond anniversary. Jerry and Betty Huffman decided to celebrate their 60 years together by renewing their vows at the assisted living facility that they call home. Cora Dickey spoke to the couple and learned about their decades-long love story.
Jerry and Betty Huffman are keeping love alive. The lifetime of happiness started when they met at work.
I'd see him down there where he worked, and I was back where I worked, and I'd wave to him. Yeah, I loved him.
From that moment, the chemistry was there. They knew this would be an everlasting love from one look.
I think we were drawn towards each other. First I looked at her and I saw her eyes. And they were pretty eyes.
The Huffmans say renewing their vows brought back memories of their commitment made way back when. They know love like theirs can happen when people show effort to be together.
You don't have to have the same interests, but you can give to each other what you have. We've taken trips together. We've been places together. We went camping together. Everything we did was both of us together.
Reaching everlasting love means making it through tough times.
We lost our daughter, and that drew us even closer to each other because that was an awful thing to go through.
Betty and Jerry have spent the majority of their lives together. They plan to keep the ride going by being devoted to one another.
He's in the 80s, so we're gonna go from here. You know, we don't have much time left, but we're gonna enjoy the rest of it.
Jerry knows firsthand that a love meant to last comes with different stages for the better.
Most couples will find the longer you're together, the love gets to be a different love. It's not the same as when you first met and went through the marriage part, but as time goes along, you're going to find that commitment even stronger.
The Huffman's guide to everlasting love is to not let small stuff break the bond.
Everything's not going to be as smooth as silk. You're going to go through troubles, and when you have disagreements, but one thing you have to do is forgive and forget.
Now, recently, Jerry refused to move to a different assisted living facility to get treatment for nose cancer if Betty could not go with him. He ended up getting treatment from the University of Virginia Hospital and is doing fine now. That brings us to our question for you this morning. Do you plan to ever renew your vows? Yes? No? Or maybe you're not married at all right now? Well, we want to hear from you. Make sure you vote through our website, through the app, and take part in the discussion on our Facebook page. We will be back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, the FDA has approved a blood test that will help identify signs of preeclampsia in pregnant women. Preeclampsia causes high blood pressure, and if it is not treated, it can lead to eclampsia, which causes seizures and sometimes death. Thermo Fisher Scientific developed the blood test to determine if a woman who is already experiencing symptoms will develop a severe form of the disease. The test has been available in Europe for years and can tell with up to 96% accuracy who will not develop preeclampsia. It's unclear how effective this test will be in improving patient outcomes. Just walking along a roadway has apparently gotten a lot more dangerous in the last decade. The Governor's Highway Safety Association released a study that found American drivers killed at least 7,500 pedestrians in 2022. That's the most deaths of any year since 1981. On top of that, pedestrian deaths rose 77% between 2010 and 2021. This comes after decades of seeing a decline in the number of pedestrians killed by drivers. Experts blame the rise in deaths on faster driving speeds, as well as the lack of sidewalks and other pedestrian-friendly infrastructure on many roads across the country. Researchers suggest skipping a usual part of the bedtime routine could increase your risk of cardiovascular disease. Scientists from a university hospital in Japan were behind the study released last week in the journal Nature Scientific Reports. And they analyzed the oral hygiene habits of over 1,600 hospital patients who were at least 20 years old. The researchers say they found that only brushing in the morning after waking up was not enough to maintain good health, and that brushing teeth at night is important for lowering cardiovascular disease risk. And a new CDC report finds nearly 1 in 4 adults in America still had not caught COVID-19 by the end of last year. Some 77%, however, did have antibodies from at least one prior infection. The figures are based on the agency's final study of antibodies in Americans ages 16 and up. Researchers also found young people ages 16 to 19 had the highest percentage of natural antibodies. Meanwhile, a little more than half of seniors ages 65 and over had at least one prior infection. A professional female athlete has been diagnosed with CTE for the first time. Late Australian rules footballer Heather Anderson died in November of 2022 at the age of 28. An analysis of her brain conducted at the Australian Sports Brain Bank showed she was suffering from the degenerative brain disease, which is believed to be caused by repeated head injuries. Although primarily seen in male athletes, researchers say evidence has suggested females are more susceptible to sports-related concussions than males. An investigation into Anderson's death is still underway. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Yeah, we've got ourselves some scattered thunderstorms out there this morning. These are not severe at the moment. We are watching some stronger storms out to the west. We'll take a look at that full forecast and today's possible severe threat when we come back.
Right now at 5:30, Pittsburgh looks to celebrate the 4th of July with not only pickleball, but a fireworks show as well.
Mother Nature celebrating a day late with her own fireworks. We'll take a look at the thunderstorm chances coming up.
And Carthage celebrates the 4th of July in Memorial Park with a ninja course and, of course, some fireworks.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's now 5:29. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So we've got some thunderstorms out there this morning. We have had some strong, even severe thunderstorms, and we've got more of them on the way as we go through the afternoon, evening, overnight, and into our Thursday and Friday as well. So let's take a look at Skywatch Storm Tracker. You can see where we've got those scattered showers, even a couple of rumbles of thunder out there. No severe weather in our area yet, but we're keeping an eye on these storms out to the west. They have been strong with winds gusting around 50 miles an hour or so. So we'll see what these guys do. But otherwise, we're just looking at some good, much needed rainfall across the area so far. Now with the overnight storms, we did get one storm report from La Harpe of a tree that fell on a house out there. So we're looking at gusty winds, and gusty winds look to be the primary threat with any of the stronger storms today, although some hail is possible as well. So here's what that initial batch looked like, and this is beginning to wind down, and then we're expecting redevelopment as we head later into the morning over the next few hours, and another batch of storms expected to push through, and then we'll start to pause briefly. We'll go with some scattered, even maybe just some pop-up storms through the afternoon, and then as we head later into the evening and the overnight hours, here comes a third round of potential showers and thunderstorms, and again, these could be strong, possibly severe, as we go through the overnight and early into our Thursday morning across the area. So let's take a look at today's severe threat. Right now, very low tornado risk, no specific areas highlighted. Do have that elevated hail risk for parts of southeast Kansas and northeast Oklahoma, and everybody in an elevated wind risk. So that's going to be our primary concern today, is wind gusts of 60, maybe 70 miles an hour, some of these storms. We have that low wind risk tomorrow for those thunderstorms as they continue on into the first half of our Thursday, and we go back to another elevated risk by this Friday. MoDOT camera, 20th in range line. We're looking good so far, and same from the KDOT camera at 69 and East 520th Avenue out there. As again, we're just getting some showers. You can see some of those clouds on our camera now at 7th and range line. Sitting at 70 in Joplin, remaining cloudy for the time being. And temperatures around the region look like this. Got 69 Nevada, 71 Lamar, 70 in Pittsburgh, Chanute, 69 Yates Center, 70 in Miami, Neosho, and 71 in Monette. So again, as we get our morning started, we'll have those scattered thunderstorms across the area, temperatures hovering in the low 70s. And then today's high, again, comes with a caveat. It's low 90s. That depends on who sees what kind of clearing and how quickly. Some of us could get into the low 90s. Some of us may not make it out of the 80s. And we'll continue to see those scattered thunderstorm chances again through the afternoon, into the evening and overnight hours. And we will go back into the low to mid 70s for our overnight lows. And as mentioned, our thunderstorms continue for a while. We'll go mid 80s tomorrow. We'll start to see some clearing by the afternoon Thursday. And then additional scattered strong, possibly severe thunderstorms on Friday, right around 84. Temperatures will begin to warm up as we go through the weekend and into next week, and we will hold on to some of those scattered thunderstorm chances and pop-up storm chances as we head into the next work week as well. So again, no strong or severe thunderstorms in our immediate area right now, but we'll continue to monitor those storms out west and keep you updated on what they do. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. Evergy customers in Kansas could soon feel a rate increase. If approved, the new rates would likely take effect in December of 2023. For EKC residential customers, the average monthly increase would be $14.24, while EKM residential customers would experience an average monthly increase of $3.47. The Kansas Corporation Commission has scheduled 3 public hearings for customers to learn more. The hearings will take place July 11th in Topeka, July 13th in Overland Park, and July 27th in Wichita. Participants can attend in person or virtually via Zoom. Pittsburgh hosted a 4th of July celebration with arts, crafts, and other fun activities at Lincoln Park all day yesterday. Visitors had the chance to join a pickleball tournament, a baby contest, and even a fishing derby. Kids could also enjoy the amusement park at Lincoln Park. For adults, a car show with more than 70 vehicles, the attraction of the Independence Day celebration.
We're thankful to have a country that we can live in and be free, and this is the main reason for the celebration, and I think that everybody ought to keep that in mind as we celebrate those that gave their lives so that we could be here today.
The kids like the kiddie land. All the adults, of course, love the car shows, and we have to go to the arts and crafts, priority 1.
Well, in the afternoon, multiple competitions took place, cornhole tournaments, a free disc golf clinic, and live music, also part of the activities. Firework display started around 10 p.m. Well, Carl Junction also started its July 4th celebrations yesterday morning. The city held its annual Independence Day parade as well. A number of groups made their way down Main Street. Organizers say the tradition is one of their favorite parts of the July 4th holiday.
We love to put on this parade. We love to honor our veterans and our nation and just get our community together for some fun, get the kids excited, just a big community event.
Well, if folks were looking for fireworks in Carl Junction last night, Briarbrook Golf Course put on a display. It was slated to start about 9:45. Well, the Red, White, and Boom community celebration happened yesterday in Carthage. It was at Municipal Park in Carthage. Folks enjoyed a watermelon feed, Freedom Foam Pit, a ninja course, and much more. Music started later yesterday evening, and the event continued until 10 p.m.
One, it brings families in, it creates team building for different organizations. They can work with us. It just is simply one area that is just pure kids fun.
Red, White, and Boom had something for everyone, including a fireworks show. Well, fireworks stands are set up all across the 4 states to celebrate Independence Day, and we stopped by one of them to take a look at sales post-COVID pandemic. Now, stand workers say they've made a lot of sales this year, and some products have been much more popular than others.
A lot of the novelty stuff is always popular. Everyone likes to do their parachutes, everyone likes to do their smoke bombs. There's all those popular items, that sparklers that are always a go-to every year.
Just a reminder, if you're still shooting off fireworks today, when it comes to shooting them off, stay safe and observe your city or county ordinances. The National EMS Memorial Service holds a weekend of honor every year, and usually it's in Arlington, Virginia, but this year they took it on the road. Former KOAM employee Cale Chapman has more.
The National EMS Memorial Service holds a weekend of honor every year in Arlington, Virginia, but this year they're taking that service on the road to families of fallen EMS members who can't make the trip. The service has put together their Moving Honors program to travel across the country and honor EMS personnel that died while on the job.
And so I always remember these people, okay? A lot of times these people, they have a big funeral, they have the kind words, and everybody goes home and they forget about them. We try to keep that memory alive.
The Moving Honors Tour started in California but will end in Arlington, Virginia on July 21st. The National EMS Memorial Service is working to build a National EMS Memorial in Washington, D.C., as EMS are the only first responders without a permanent national memorial.
Well, this morning we're discussing renewing your vows of marriage.
Yes,
Hello
we
there.
are. We've just been watching those storms for you, just so you know. Nothing to worry about yet. Well, Jerry and Betty Huffman are keeping love alive. The lifetime of happiness started when they met at work, and from that moment, the chemistry was there. They knew this would be an everlasting love from just one look.
The Huffmans say renewing their vows brought back memories of their commitment made way back when, and they know love like theirs can happen when people show an effort to be together. Reaching everlasting love means making it through tough times, like for them, losing a daughter. Now, Betty and Jerry have spent the majority of their lives together, and they plan to keep the ride going by staying devoted to one another.
Jerry knows firsthand that a love meant to last comes with different stages for the better. Huffman's guide to everlasting love is to not let small stuff break that bond. And that brings us to our question for you. Are you planning to ever renew your vows? So far, 20% of you say that you're not, and 80% of you say you're not married. So make sure you take time to vote through our website, through our app, and take part in the discussion on our Facebook page.
I wonder if throughout the morning we get a few more yeses in there.
I suspect we probably will.
There you go. Well, that's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News, a man looks to rewrite the record books with his huge pencil collection.
Plus, if you're looking to have your hair done in Afghanistan, you'll need to look elsewhere, all thanks to the Taliban. We'll have the latest.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Tapping World Watch, a 15-day curfew begins Tuesday, July 4th, that was yesterday, and an attempt to curb the country's violence. The measure began at 9 o'clock local time and will last until 4 a.m. and is restricted to the northern cities of San Pedro Sula and Coloma. President Xiomara Castro made the announcement last Sunday after a shooting in Coloma left at least 11 people dead. Armed men opened fire and a local billiard wounding several others. Castro says an extension of this measure is possible. The Taliban targets beauty salons in the latest crackdown on the rights and freedoms of Afghan women and girls. The government announced on Tuesday that all beauty salons have 1 month to shut down their business in the capital, Kabul, and in all provinces. Taliban has already barred women and girls from education, public spaces, and most forms of employment. Well, France's last surviving D-Day commando has died as centurion. World War II veteran Leon Gautier was among the first wave of Allied troops who stormed the beaches of Normandy in June of 1944, beginning the liberation of Western Europe. The French commandos spent 78 days straight on the front lines, battling the Nazis alongside Allied forces. Gautier was among 24 survivors of the 177 Frenchmen who waded ashore that day. He died on Monday at the age of 100, just weeks after taking part in France's commemorations of the 79th anniversary of D-Day. Collector paid $12,000 at an auction for a letter from a passenger who died on the Titanic. An Uruguayan man sent the letter to his brother from an Irish port on April 11, 1912, 4 days before the shipwreck. The treasured family memento was passed down from generation to generation. The letter not only tells the story of its author, but also of the most famous ocean liner in history, with descriptions of its luxuries and the people who traveled there. Perhaps the recent accident of the Titan submarine, which was exploring the remains of the Titanic, helped to raise its price. And that's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 5:45, almost 5:46. We've got scattered showers out there. This batch dying down. The initial leading edge, as you can see, kind of falling apart as it's moved off to the south. What we are watching now is this batch of thunderstorms out to the west, and this is expected to be our round 2 over the next few hours as we go through the morning. So you can see how it's kind of begun to develop out there pretty quickly and is moving off to the east-southeast. These storms have been strong this morning, but not severe as of yet, and we don't have any severe weather alerts in our immediate area, but of course we're monitoring this for you all morning and through the day. So round 2 will start pushing through. Here we are about 10 o'clock in the morning. Once that clears out, we'll have a pause, and we could see some pop-up storms, maybe some scattered thunderstorms through the afternoon, and then we go later into the evening and into the overnight, and a third round of showers and thunderstorms is going to move through. And the thunderstorms we see through this morning, through this afternoon, and into the evening and overnight could be strong, possibly severe. So here we are Thursday morning with a 4th batch of showers and thunderstorms. Again, these could be strong, possibly low-grade severe. So let's take a look at today's risk. We don't have a tornado risk up there, so it's very low. No areas highlighted at least, which is good news. We do have an elevated hail risk for some large hail parts of southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma, and all of us have an elevated wind risk. And wind is really looking to be the primary threat with these thunderstorms as we go through today. This is not our only severe weather day, so this is today, again, as it's been for the last few days, an elevated risk for everyone. We have that low end risk as we head into Thursday, but this is mainly for those storms that are going to hang on maybe till about noon, 1 o'clock, and then they'll move out of here. And then we go to Friday and look at that, another elevated risk for some strong, possibly severe thunderstorms. Let's take a look outside. MoDOT camera, 20th and range line. We're looking good so far down there, and we're starting to look better at the KDOT camera at 69 and East 520th Avenue, just south of Pittsburgh. Our camera, 7th and range line, obviously cloudy skies out there, and that'll be the trend. We're sitting at 70. Dew point humidity, both up there with the rain, so a little bit on the muggy side, and that's to be expected. Around the area, we got 69 in Yates Center, 67 Iola, 70 in Pittsburgh, 73 Chetopa, 72 Miami, and 70 in Carthage and Neosho this morning. So again, scattered storms through our morning hours. Temperatures should be hovering right around the low 70s. And then our highs today, this will depend on who gets what kind of clearing and for how long. Some of us are going to make it into the low 90s. Some of us won't make it out of the low to mid 80s today. And we'll have those, again, scattered thunderstorm chances. And it's like a broken record at this point. They'll continue through the evening. Again, we get a little bit of a pause. They return overnight, and we'll go into the mid-70s for our lows. For tomorrow, again, thunderstorms through the first half of our day, maybe as late as 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and we'll go mid-80s for us on Thursday. Thunderstorm chances return on Friday. Again, could be strong, possibly low-grade severe. They'll be scattered, though, somewhat like today. We'll go mid-80s again. Mid-80s Saturday, a few more thunderstorms possible. And thunderstorm chances begin to decrease as we head into next week, but they're still there. However, even though they're decreasing, temperatures increasing. We start to go low, mid, even upper 90s, and as they head toward the middle of the week, and then we get a few more pop-up thunderstorms, and we cool back a little, back to the mid-80s and low 90s as we head toward the end of next week. Again, no strong or severe thunderstorms in our immediate area, but we are continuing to watch them, and if anything changes, we'll let you know. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Well, you may have pencils stacking up in junk drawers and desks in your home, but a man in Iowa has us all beat. He's got about 70,000 pencils in his collection, and now he's poised to rewrite the record books. Ashley Wheel spoke to him on Friday ahead of a weekend count to confirm he is the top collector.
Never dreamed I'd be getting to this point. This is kind of amazing.
Aaron Barthelme won't settle with being number 2. He says he has about 70,000 wooden advertising pencils. The current Guinness World Record is 24,000 pencils.
Sounds like, well, I can easily beat that.
And tomorrow's the big day because here at the Colfax Historical Society, they're going to be counting all 70,000 of these pencils. And he has every kind of pencil you can think of, from aspirin-filled pencils,
Harmless lactose sucrose starch tablets,
to rotary phone pencils,
dial your number that way,
to high school basketball schedule pencils.
This is Amboy High School.
And even 100-year-old pencils.
I don't know that you can pick a favorite when you've got 70,000 of something.
But the most special pencils are the ones that come from his hometown.
And it's just neat to see. I love seeing the local businesses, you know. For so many of these places, these pencils are the only place where there's any record of that business still. And I think it's just a neat way to kind of preserve the history.
Eventually, I just heard about the society. I don't know how I heard about it, but I did.
Andrew Westber, president of the American Pencil Collector Society, will be one of the counters to verify the world record.
So I've been looking forward to this, and I'm really looking forward to going down there and seeing some pencils.
The Collector Society is a place to meet other pencil collectors and trade duplicates. Aaron expects counting to take at least 12 hours. But he's excited to bring everyone together to show off his own treasured pieces of history.
I love the history that you can find through these little sticks of wood.
I saw that one was from Hays, Kansas. Pretty cool. Here's an update since that counting happened over the weekend. Barthelme says he was confident he passed the 70,000 mark to secure the new world record. There you go. We'll be right back. Well, it took 60 years, but a high school attraction ends up with a surprise marriage proposal at the airport. Dr. Thomas McMeekin and Nancy Gamble first met in high school in Quincy, California. Now, they did go on a few dates, but went to different colleges and ended up marrying other people. The pair saw each other 10 years ago at their 50th high school reunion, but nothing happened. When McMeekin RSVP'd that he would be going to their 60th high school reunion, he heard from Gamble, who said she was looking forward to seeing him again. There they are. McMeekin promised Gamble a surprise when she landed at the Tampa International Airport. It was a necklace with both of their birthstones on it and a marriage proposal. Well, Nancy said yes, of course. The couple is now planning a California wedding. Aww. Well, the hunt for the precious One Ring card is over. The search for the one-of-a-kind Lord of the Rings trading card began nearly 2 weeks ago. Bidders offered millions to whomever found it. Hasbro announced someone found the card last Friday. The collectible is part of the Magic the Gathering game based on the famous Tolkien novel. Only one ring card was produced for the latest booster pack released on June 23rd. The trading card store in Spain had promised to pay the owner more than $2 million if he or she was willing to give up the card. Right now, the owner wants to remain anonymous.
It is absolutely incredible how the value of those things can skyrocket for certain situations, because I see it, it's a card. but it's worth millions. Why don't I have anything worth millions? Well, we've got a forecast that's worth millions in terms of the rain that it's going to bring to the area. Well, those scattered thunderstorms through the morning will go into the low 70s and just kind of hover there. Today's high, low 90s. Some of us will reach that, depending on how quickly you clear and how quickly you're able to warm up. Others may not make it out of the 80s today. We'll have those scattered thunderstorms. Again, some of these could be strong, possibly severe, with some large hail and damaging winds being the primary concern. They will continue through the evening, pause briefly, and then a fourth batch of thunderstorms will move in overnight, and we'll go mid-70s with those thunderstorms continuing through the first half of our Thursday. And some of those, again, could be strong, possibly low-grade severe. We'll go mid-80s tomorrow, mid-80s again on Friday, and another chance for some strong to severe thunderstorms for our Friday. We'll hold on to scattered thunderstorm chances as we go into the next work week, and temperatures will also begin to climb. We stay decent through the weekend. We start to go low, mid, upper 90s as we head toward the middle of next week. A few more pop-up storm chances next Wednesday and Thursday, and a wee bit cooler as we go mid-80s, low 90s to close out next week. Again, no strong or severe storms in our area right now. We are keeping an eye on activity out to the west, and if any of that changes, we of course will let you know. We'll be back with another hour of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Right now at 6, Stars and Stripes Forever as the 4 states fires off the regional celebration of America's independence.
Mother Nature bringing her own fireworks. Take a look at these colors on the MoDOT camera at 20th and Rangeline. Wait until we show you our camera view from 7th and Rangeline of this impressive sunrise. We still have strong storms in our forecast. We'll talk about that coming up.
And millions of holiday travelers will soon hit the roads and skies to make their return home. But some of those travelers may run into not so friendly weather.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. Just after 6 a.m. on this Wednesday morning, we've had showers, thunderstorms out there. Some of us getting a break, and Tim, our extraordinary director back there, we're going to show you our view from 7th and Rangeline real quick, and you've got to see this sunrise that we're getting in Joplin thanks to the cloud cover and just the way the storm activity is kind of cleared out there. Take a look at that. It looked even more impressive just a few minutes ago. But it's just an absolutely gorgeous sunrise out there. We have more thunderstorms, though, on the way. So if we take a look at the Skywatch Storm Tracker, we can show you where we've got some isolated showers out there, a few rumbles of thunder. We're getting more thunderstorm activity out to our west, and that's what we are keeping an eye on with this thunderstorm activity. This will be our round 2. It's going to start marching our way. No severe weather right now in the area, but again, we'll continue to monitor those storms because the severe threat is there for us through our day today and into the overnight hours. So round 2 should start moving through. Here we are about 10 a.m. with those showers and thunderstorms out there, and then they'll push on off. We'll get a pause in some of the activity, and we'll go with some pop-up to scattered thunderstorms into the afternoon. And then as we head later into the evening, that's when we'll see round 3 start to roll through of some strong, possibly severe thunderstorms through the late evening, early overnight hours. And then around 4 begins to develop early tomorrow morning, and these storms could be strong, maybe low-grade severe as we press into our Thursday morning across the area. So let's look at today's severe threat. Very low tornado risk. No areas highlighted right now, so that's good news. We do have an elevated hail risk for parts of southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma for some large hail out there, and we've got an elevated wind risk for all of us. So that's the biggest concern with these storms is strong damaging wind gusts pushing in that 60, 70 mile an hour range. And this isn't our only severe threat. We have that low wind risk for the first half of our Thursday with some of those additional thunderstorms, and we go back to an elevated risk for some scattered strong to severe thunderstorms on our Friday. We'll take another complete look at your forecast and how things are shaping up for the weekend here in just a few more minutes. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. Pittsburgh celebrated the 4th of July with arts, crafts, and other fun activities at Lincoln Park yesterday. Visitors had the chance to join a pickleball tournament, a baby contest, and even a fishing derby. Kids could also enjoy the amusement park, Kittyland, at Lincoln Park. For adults, a car show with more than 70 vehicles was the attraction of the Independence Day celebration.
We're thankful to have a country that we can live in and be free, and this is the main reason for the celebration, and I think that everybody ought to keep that in mind as we celebrate those that gave their lives so that we could be here today.
The kids like the Kittyland. All the adults, of course, love the car shows. And we have to go to the arts and crafts, priority 1.
On Tuesday afternoon, multiple fun competitions took place, including cornhole tournaments and a free disc golf clinic. Evening closed with live music and, you guessed it, a firework display. Well, Carl Junction also fired off its 4th of July celebrations. On Tuesday, the city held its annual Independence Day parade. A number of groups made their way down Main Street.
We have a lot of people dressed up very patriotically. We have people who fundraise this parade and just people showing their spirit for America.
Carl Junction held its own fireworks display at the Briarbrook Golf Course. The Red, White, and Boom community celebration blew up at the Municipal Park in Carthage. Folks enjoyed a watermelon feed, a Freedom Foam Pit, a ninja course, and much more.
Go swimming, eat some of the food that we made at home, and watch the fireworks and spend time with family.
Carthage closed out their night with live music and fireworks as well. Missouri Southern hosted its very own Independence Day celebration. Festivities kicked off at 5:30 with various food trucks and continued through the night. The event featured performances by the Mixtapes and, of course, a fireworks show. Now, the fireworks were set to music that the attendees could tune into on 88.7 KXMS. Post-COVID pandemic, fireworks stands have proved business is back to booming. Fireworks stands has set up all across the 4 states to celebrate Independence Day. KOAM stopped by one of them to take a look at sales following the pandemic. Stand workers say they've made a lot of sales this year, and some products have been much more popular than others.
A lot of the novelty stuff is always popular. Everyone likes to do their parachutes, everyone likes to do their smoke bombs. There's all those popular items sparklers that are always a go-to every year.
Well, if you're still looking to buy fireworks, some stands will open back up for business today. Folks across the country celebrated the 4th of July through rain, storms, and heat and humidity. Severe weather expected to continue today for millions, and with many set to travel home. Jared Hill has tips on how to make that go as smoothly as possible.
Fireworks lit up the sky above the Big Apple Tuesday. The 4th of July tradition went off without a hitch, hours after heavy storms postponed another holiday staple, Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest.
There's too much of a lightning risk.
A lightning strike sent one person to the hospital on New York's Coney Island. Meanwhile, downpours down south made for treacherous driving as people celebrating in the nation's capital braved humidity that peaked at 94%.
It's very humid, very hot.
Cancellations and delays piled up at Denver International Airport, where LaVon Fitzgerald spent the holiday, though hopefully she's not here to celebrate another milestone.
I'm celebrating my 60th birthday tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
And I just hope there's not any more delays.
On the roads, AAA is expecting more than 43 million drivers during the holiday week. Gas prices are about 4 cents cheaper nationally than a week ago, and nearly $1.30 less a gallon on average than July 4th of last year.
It's been on my gas. I pulled my gas up this morning, and I feel great about it, and I spent under $50, so I'm feeling happy.
Experts say those heading home from holiday travel should plan ahead and leave early. Jared Hill, CBS News.
FlightAware is showing hundreds of delays and cancellations already today. And meanwhile, if you're hitting the road, AAA says the best time is before 2 p.m. Now, the worst time later in the day between 3 and 6 p.m. Don't forget, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone free of charge. It's available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. The KOAM Skywatch weather app. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, protecting your family from a summertime pest.
People across the country are feeling the bite. I'm Danya Backus with what you can do to keep your family safe this mosquito season.
Plus, Independence Day used to mean fireworks, but the last few years have made the holiday one of the deadliest in terms of mass shootings. And Chris returns with another look at your forecast and if the 4 states needs to keep an eye out for severe weather and for how long. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping Nation Watch this morning, more than 24 train cars derail in Wisconsin on Tuesday. Canadian Pacific representative says 29 cars carrying wheat, seed, and bentonite clay went off the railroad tracks west of Reeseville. No injuries were reported and no hazardous material was spilled. The Dodge County Sheriff says there was a lot of property damage, but stressed the incident could have been much worse. Authorities are investigating what caused the derailment. Authorities are now offering a reward in the case of a missing Michigan toddler. Tuesday, the FBI and Lansing police announced a $25,000 reward in the case of 2-year-old Winter Cole Smith. The FBI also released a missing person poster with the latest information on the child. Officials have been searching for Winter since they say her mother's ex-boyfriend, Rashad Treese, kidnapped her on Sunday. They do have Treese in custody, but still do not know the whereabouts of Winter.
If anybody has any knowledge of Winter's whereabouts or has control of Winter, that they need to know that they will be prosecuted to the fullest if they're involved in this in any way.
Police say they are following up on several leads they have received from the public. Tuesday marked 1 year since a gunman took several lives after opening fire at a suburban Chicago 4th of July parade. Residents of Highland Park, a city about 25 miles north of downtown Chicago, gathered to honor the victims with a remembrance ceremony and a community walk along the parade route. Last year, spectators fled the route when a gunman opened fire about 15 minutes into the event. 7 people died and dozens of others were wounded by gunshots or shrapnel.
We remember those who were murdered, and we remember those whose lives were forever altered. Our hearts will always ache for the families and friends who were left behind to grapple with the pain of their loss. There is nothing we can say that will fill the holes torn in their hearts or heal those who were irreparably harmed.
After the memorial, hundreds of residents walked the parade route to reclaim it. The mayor says it was a way for people to take their grief and move forward in a way that will allow them a chance to experience the 4th of July again in the future. Since the shooting, Illinois has passed, but not fully enacted, stronger gun laws. Will damper on Independence Day celebrations. According to new research, the July 4th holiday has seen the most mass shootings than any other day in a calendar year over the past few years. John Lawrence reports.
For some people, fireworks may be the first thing they associate with July 4th. But there's a continuing trend that links fatal shootings to the holiday.
Everybody was right here, and they was just popping fireworks, like doing burnouts and stuff, and then there was a lot of gunfire that just started ringing out, and then everybody just started running everywhere.
According to CNN's analysis of data from the Gun Violence Archive since 2014, the Independence Day holiday has had the most mass shootings compared to the rest of the year.
This is insanity. This cannot be the society that we are expected to live in.
Both CNN and the GVA consider a mass shooting an incident where 4 or more people are injured or killed, not including the shooter. Over the past few days, heading into this year's July 4th, numerous mass shootings were reported in Philadelphia, Fort Worth, Texas, and Baltimore.
I think, frankly, people are tired of the finger pointing in the politics, and nothing happens. And nothing gets done except we just continue going from tragedy to tragedy.
The July 4th holiday weekends from 2020 through 2022 saw double-digit shootings in a single day. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Gun violence has been on the rise during the summer months, and that's according to CNN's analysis. The findings say of the top 10 days with the most mass shootings since 2014, all but New Year's Day took place in June, July, or August. That's a look at some of today's top national stories. Here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, we had an absolutely beautiful sunrise view for at least a few minutes earlier. We've still got showers and thunderstorms out there and the threat for severe weather today. We'll talk about all that in your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 6:17, almost 6:18 now on this Wednesday morning across the 4 states. So I have a few showers out there in parts of southwest Missouri, back in northeast Oklahoma. We've got some showers, even a couple of thunderstorms into southeast Kansas. But what we're watching is this activity that's been developing out to the west. These storms have been strong, and the big concern with them on the strong side has been wind gusts around 50 to 55 miles an hour, so just below severe limits out there. And there's also been some small hail. That's what we're watching as a round 2 of thunderstorms as we go over the next couple of 3 hours here as it continues to push off to the east. So this batch just to the east of Wichita, as you can see, began to sink southward, but all of this activity is moving eastward and will start impacting us a little later this morning, bringing us the chance for some strong, possibly severe thunderstorms. So here we are at 10 a.m. There's round 2 as it moves on through the area. Now, after that second round clears out around, say, noon, 1 o'clock, we'll start to clear out, and some of us may get a little bit on the toasty side. Others may not make it out of the 80s. We'll talk about that in a moment. We'll have scattered thunderstorms through the afternoon. They'll be scattered, isolated to scattered. And then as we go into the evening, a third round of showers and thunderstorms will begin to develop. And this third round, again, could be strong, possibly severe as it moves through the area later this evening into the early overnight hours. It clears out, and then round 4 comes in early tomorrow morning, say around 5, 6 a.m. And that could also bring us some strong, maybe low-grade severe thunderstorms for the first half of our Thursday. So for today's severe threat, we don't have any areas highlighted for a tornado risk, so that's very low, which is good news. We do have an elevated hail risk for parts of southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma, and we've got an elevated wind risk for all of us, and that's been the primary concern with these storms for the last couple of days is strong damaging wind gusts, and so that's what we're going to have to watch for, and we're talking winds 60, 70 miles an hour out there. Today, though, not our only severe threat, so here's today. Tomorrow, we've got that low risk for some of those thunderstorms for the first half of our Thursday, and then Friday, we go back to an elevated risk. And the storms Friday will be similar today. They'll be scattered, but some of those could be strong, possibly severe. MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line in Joplin. It is cloudy out there and cloudy from the KDOT camera at 69 and East 520th Avenue in just south of Pittsburgh. Our camera 7th and Range Line showing those clouds out there. We're sitting at 70 in Joplin. Of course, dew point humidity are up there with the thunderstorm activity and the shower activity in the area. We had 67 Iola, 69 Neodesha, Yates Center, Parsons, Pittsburgh, and Independence, 70 in Chetopa, Neosho, and 71 in Monette and Lamar. As we get our morning started again, we'll have those thunderstorm chances and hang out in the low to maybe mid 70s across the area. And then today, highs of low 90s are possible depending on how much clearing you get and how long it stays clear out there. Because of all the humidity from the storms, heat index values can easily reach 100, maybe even 105, even from the low 90s. Now, some of us won't make it out of the 80s out there, but still something to be aware of in between the breaks on these scattered thunderstorms throughout the afternoon. Scattered thunderstorms again continue into the evening. They pause, and then that third round starts to move in later tonight and into the overnight hours, and we'll go back into the mid 70s. As we look ahead, again, we'll get that fourth round early tomorrow morning, and some of those could be strong, low-grade severe out there. We'll go mid-80s again Friday, scattered thunderstorms, and just a reminder, some of those could be strong, possibly severe as well. And then we'll hold on to scattered thunderstorm chances as we head into the beginning of next week and through the weekend. And as you can see, the chances begin to drop down a bit, and as such, our temperatures unfortunately begin to climb. We start going low, mid, even upper 90s by the middle of next week. And then we'll get another little system in here with some scattered thunderstorms, and that cools us down a bit back to mid-80s, low 90s as we close out the next week. So again, no strong or severe thunderstorms in our immediate area, but should any of that change, we will let you know. We'll be back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, staying physically active leads to better quality of life for older adults, and that's according to researchers at the University of Cambridge who studied some 1,400 participants age 60 and above. They found that even spending 15 minutes a day less engaged when older can lower quality of life and leading to increased risk of hospitalization and early death. Health officials recommend any physical activity for older adults that breaks up long stretches of sitting, from a brisk 20-minute walk to gardening to even dancing. Well, contrary to what many may believe, people with dementia appear to be able to continue to learn new things. Researchers in Sweden gave 10 dementia patients a computer tablet without any instructions, and despite suffering from severe memory decline, after 4 to 6 weeks, some of the patients learned to use the tablet more independently. While more research is needed, the doctoral thesis indicates the body seemingly continues to remember movements required, even if the ability to talk about it has been lost. And researchers in Brazil found that while both smoking or having HPV increase the risk of head and neck cancer, there's no evidence to show the two can have a harmful interaction to increase the risk of contracting the disease. While the main causes have historically been alcohol, tobacco, and poor oral hygiene, in recent decades, HPV has become a significant risk factor for younger patients. Well, it is mosquito season, and as the weather gets warmer across the country, those pesky little bugs are making their presence known. Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, Atlanta, and Dallas-Fort Worth top a recent list of so-called mosquito cities. Danya Bacchus has tips on how you can protect yourself and your family from these potentially virus-carrying insects.
It's Catherine Baer's job to eliminate sources of mosquito breeding.
If there's any water at all, remove it as soon as possible.
As a vector control specialist for Los Angeles County, she's expecting a busy mosquito season.
Like this water in this lid would potentially have mosquitoes breeding in it.
A winter of heavy rains in Southern California has created more places for mosquitoes to hatch. In other places across the country,
I go outside, a mosquito already bit me.
people are feeling the bite and doing what they can.
I've got a stick and a spray and then SPF.
Mosquitoes can be more than just an itchy nuisance. Their bites can actually make you sick. They can transmit potentially serious infections like West Nile virus.
Typically, we know how much virus is circulating in a community because the public health authorities are actually capturing mosquitoes.
Dr. Michael Neely is the chief of infectious diseases at Children's Hospital Los Angeles. He says while most people who get a mosquito-borne illness won't have symptoms, those who do are typically flu-like.
Fever, headache, not feeling so good, muscle aches.
To protect yourself, Dr. Neely suggests using insect repellent containing ingredients such as DEET or picaridin. Wear long, light-colored, loose-fitting clothing and get rid of standing water.
Just a teaspoon of water is enough to harbor those mosquito eggs.
It's why Baer's job is critical to keeping the community safe. Danya Bacchus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Experts say citronella candles are only effective as far as you can smell that distinct scent. If you're bitten, the CDC advises washing the area, applying an ice pack to reduce itching and swelling, and to use an antihistamine cream. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
We're keeping an eye on some showers and thunderstorms across the area. Dying showers across parts of southwest Missouri, in the northeast Oklahoma. And then we've got some good heavy rain across parts of southeast Kansas, even a few rumbles of thunder. But we are keeping an eye on this activity out to our west. This is going to be round 2 of our thunderstorm chances, and we still do have that strong to severe thunderstorm threat across the area. So we'll be keeping a close eye on these storms. We'll have more on your complete forecast and that severe threat when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Right now at 6:30, fireworks may have played a role in a Carthage house fire over the holiday.
And we've got ourselves some showers and thunderstorms out there this morning. Several rounds of these on the way, and they could be strong, possibly severe. We'll take a look at that threat coming up.
And a 109-year-old survivor of the Tulsa Race Massacre of 1921 wants to make sure people know the story of what happened.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's now 6:31. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So we've had some strong, even severe thunderstorms in parts of the area overnight. We've got some showers out there now, and we have more thunderstorms on the way as we go through our Wednesday. So let's take a look. There's the Skywatch Storm Tracker. You can see some of those decaying showers across southwest Missouri and the northeastern Oklahoma. Got some good heavy rain in parts of southeast Kansas and even some thunder. You can see some lightning being picked up there. And then what we're watching for round 2 of our storms is out around the Wichita area right now. Now, the folks at Wichita are suggesting that these storms, at least for now, will remain below severe limits. But as you can see, there's still a lot of heavy rainfall with this. So the next concern also becomes the potential for flash flooding around there. So these storms will continue to work on off to the east, and this will bring us again round 2. And you can watch how just quickly some of this activity builds up in the last 2 or 3 hours across the area. In terms of what's going to happen, round 2 should get here in the next couple of hours or so. And by 10 a.m., it's starting to roll on through, and by noon, 1 o'clock, it's gone. on, we'll get a pause in the activity this afternoon. We'll still see a few isolated to scattered thunderstorms. And then this evening, we'll see round 3 begin with some additional thunderstorm chances. Some of these, again, could be strong, possibly severe. And then after that batch moves through, by early tomorrow morning, a 4th round of more widespread shower and thunderstorm activity moves in through our Thursday. And that could also be strong, possibly low-grade severe in terms of thunderstorms. For today's threat, we have very low tornado risk. No areas highlighted right now, and that's good news. Do have that elevated hail risk for parts of southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma, and everybody in that elevated wind risk. And that's our biggest concern with these storms is strong damaging wind gusts of, say, 60, possibly 70 miles an hour. We have a low wind risk, though, as we head into tomorrow for the first half of our Thursday with that 4th round of thunderstorms. And then by Friday, more scattered storms, but these also could be strong, possibly severe. MoDOT camera 20th and range line. We are cloudy but dry for the time being. Drying out from the KDOT camera at 69 and East 520th Avenue. You can see the clouds out there. A few areas where daylight trying to get through. Sitting at 70 in Joplin. A quick look at temperatures around the area. Out west where there's been some rain, a little cooler. 66 Iola, Yates Center. 69 Parsons, Pittsburgh. 71 Miami and 70 Neosho and Carthage. As our morning continues, more of those thunderstorm chances. Temperatures hanging out in the low 70s as we go through the morning. We'll have another full look at your forecast. And of course, if any warnings or anything like that come up, we'll let you know. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. First responders battle an afternoon house fire in Carthage. On Tuesday, firefighters responded to the Breckenwood neighborhood of Carthage just before 1:15 p.m. Upon arrival, authorities described the scene as fully involved, meaning it had spread to multiple rooms. The family had made it safely out of the house, and no firefighters were injured. Chief Ryan Huntley says spent fireworks had been placed in a trash can next to the structure. He said that area is where the fire originated. A crash in Berry County, Missouri sends one person to the hospital in serious condition. The crash happened July 4th at around 7 p.m. 1 mile west of Golden, Missouri. 2012 Honda Civic skidded and traveled off the right side of the roadway and struck a 2014 Mazda 2. The Mazda then struck a pedestrian. Driver of the Mazda was airlifted to an area hospital. No word on the pedestrian. Authorities arrest 3 people in connection with the burglary of a Lamar business. The Lamar Police Department collaborated with the business in case of another break-in, which happened early in the morning last Thursday. And when officers responded to the business, they noticed 2 people leaving the building with stolen property. Authorities say those 2 men, Derek Caton of Columbus and Frank Cheney of Pittsburgh, have been arrested and charged with burglary. A 3rd suspect was arrested in connection to the previous burglaries. The oldest living survivor of the Tulsa Race Massacre shares her story in a memoir entitled "Don't Bury My Story." Viola Fletcher writes about the 1921 tragedy. At 109 years old, Fletcher remembers when a white mob ran through Tulsa's Greenwood district, killing hundreds of people and destroying homes. Fletcher was only 7 when it happened, and she says it wasn't something people talked about as she grew up. She believes you're never too old to tell your story. Evergy customers in Kansas could soon feel a rate increase. If approved, the new rates would likely take effect in December of 2023. For EKC residential customers, the average monthly increase would be $14.24, while EKM residential customers would experience an average monthly increase of $3.47. The Kansas Corporation Commission has scheduled 3 public hearings for customers to learn more. Those hearings will take place on July 11th in Topeka, July 13th in Overland Park, and July 27th in Wichita. Participants can attend in person or virtually via Zoom. Well, this morning we're discussing renewing vows of marriage.
Jerry and Betty Huffman are keeping love alive. The lifetime of happiness started when they met at work. From that moment, the chemistry was there. They knew this would be an everlasting love from just one look.
Huffman say renewing the vows brought back memories of their commitment made way back when. They know love like theirs can happen when people show an effort to be together. Reaching everlasting love means making it through tough times. And for them, it was losing a daughter. Betty and Jerry have spent the majority of their lives together, and they plan to keep the ride going by staying devoted to one another.
That brings us to our question for you this morning. Do you plan to ever renew your vows? So far, 12% of you say that you do, 37% of you say that you don't, and the vast majority of you, 51%, say that you're not married at all. So we still want to hear from you, though. Make sure you take time to vote through our website, through our app, and of course take part in the discussion on our Facebook page. By the way, they've been married 60 years when they decided to do that.
That's impressive. Congratulations to them. Well, that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News. Do you know the difference between SPF and UVA when it comes to sunscreens? We've got some tips from the experts on how to pick the right sunscreen for you.
Plus, we've got a brief pause in some of the thunderstorm activity. More on the way. Some of that could be strong, possibly severe. We'll take another look at your Wednesday forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
In Consumer Watch this morning, some Belvita breakfast sandwich biscuits are being recalled because peanuts may have been inadvertently added to them. There have been 3 unconfirmed reports of allergic reactions to the products. The recalled breakfast sandwiches include dark chocolate cream and cinnamon brown sugar with vanilla cream, with use-by dates up to and including February 25th of next year. Photos uploaded onto Apple's My Photo Stream feature. The free cloud storage system will be permanently deleted when the service officially shuts down July 26. To make sure your photos are safe, Apple encourages users to locate the original versions of the photos that you want to keep on at least one physical device, such as an iPhone or an iPad. Meta is set to release a rival to Twitter on Thursday. Meta describes the social media app called Threads as Instagram's text-based conversation app. In a screenshot of the service, it appears to let users like, reply, or repost other people's messages. Similar to Twitter. From SPF to UVA, choosing the right sunscreen can seem daunting, especially when there are so many choices. Here's some tips to keep in mind no matter what you buy. Apply sunscreen 30 minutes before going out into the sun, and be sure to reapply it every 2 hours. Nikki Batiste takes a look at some of the different factors to consider when picking a sunscreen.
With countless sunscreens on the market, trying to choose which is the most safe and effective can be overwhelming.
I tell people to protect their skin every single day with a broad spectrum sunscreen, SPF 30 or higher.
Dr. Elizabeth Hale says broad spectrum protects from both UVA and UVB rays.
What's the difference between UVA and UVB?
That SPF number, that refers to a product's ability to block UVB, which are shorter wavelength, and those are the rays that cause sunburn. But every single day, ultraviolet A rays, or UVA, those are longer wavelength. Those penetrate every day, year-round, even through windows, through clouds, even in the middle of winter. They can contribute to skin cancer and otherwise aging of the skin.
There are 2 basic types of sunscreen, chemical and mineral. Mineral sunscreens are physical. They work like a shield, sitting on the surface of your skin and deflecting the sun's rays. The main ingredients are titanium dioxide and zinc oxide, minerals that are classified as safe and effective by the FDA. If you plan to swim or sweat, you may want a chemical sunscreen. It works like a sponge, absorbing the sun's rays. Although those chemicals can be detected in the blood weeks after they were used, some doctors say that does not mean they are dangerous. The FDA says more studies need to be done.
We recommend that consumers avoid products using oxybenzone, but use is associated with potential impact on our endocrine system and development.
Dr. Hale says it's most important to simply wear sunscreen every day, reapply as directed on the label, and get a skin exam once a year.
We know that skin cancer, which is the most common cancer diagnosed in the United States, is also the most preventable.
Nikki Batiste, New York.
That's it for Consumer Watch. Here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got ourselves some of those scattered thunderstorms across the area. Got some heavy rain in parts of southeast Kansas. We are watching additional thunderstorms out to our west. This will be round 2 of thunderstorms. And as we go through today, the potential for some strong to severe thunderstorms does exist. We're going to take another complete look at your forecast in just a moment. We've also got your daily celebration of birthdays and anniversaries just around the corner. But first, why don't we head out to New York City? See what's happening on CBS Mornings.
I'm Ed O'Keefe. Coming up on CBS Mornings, Yusef Salaam, exonerated as a member of the Central Park Five, joins us to talk about his campaign to be elected to the New York City Council and working with the police. That's coming up on CBS Mornings.
All right, time for some Wednesday birthdays here in the 4 states, and we're going to begin in Columbus with Reagan Hutto celebrating number 7. Happy birthday, Reagan.
The party stays in the bus with an 11th birthday for Faith Johnson. Hope it's a great one, Faith.
And we've got our very own reporter, MMJ, Anthony Saviello. He looks like he's very surprised right there. Perhaps we caught him off guard. Anthony celebrating a birthday today as well. Happy birthday to you.
I tell you what, he's been a breath of fresh air in our newsroom. Really enjoy having him on our team.
He is. He's very, very, very cool.
All right, happy birthday, Anthony. Hope you have a great one. And let's see, also on our list, we've got Pat McSherry turning 64. I'm sorry about that. Pat is 64 in Columbus.
And over in Erie, we've got Mel Strickland celebrating another year wiser as well. Happy birthday, Mel. Now this list, that's only 5 birthdays, guys. There's got to be more birthdays in the 4 states. Tanya, where do these folks need to send them to make sure we can celebrate them?
Make sure you send them to this email, and you can send the anniversaries and birthdays to this. Don't forget the S on birthdays. It's simple. Birthdays at KOAMnewsnow.com.
And of course, while you're on our website checking out the latest news, weather, and sports, make sure that you take time to sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club. You get special deals from local businesses. You also get a special birthday message from your friends here at KOAM. So head over to KOAMnewsnow.com and sign up for the Birthday Club today. All right, we got showers, we got thunderstorms to talk about this morning, and a lot of them, several rounds of them actually. All right, we got dying showers in southwest Missouri and moving out of northeastern Oklahoma. We got some decent rainfall occurring in parts of southeast Kansas and even some thunder out there, so you can see some of those lightning strikes. But take a look out to the west. This is the batch that we are watching that will be kind of our round 2 of thunderstorms as we go through the morning, and we'll keep an eye on these. They've been strong this morning with some strong wind gusts and some small hail, so we'll keep an eye, see if they intensify or not as they move off to the east-southeast. So again, these guys, something we'll keep an eye on. So we go back and we look back about, say, 3 hours ago, and you can see where this batch really just got going and is kind of slowly moving off to the east-southeast. It is starting to take a more southeasterly turn, so we'll have to see exactly what parts of the area it ends up impacting. But we do have that strong to severe thunderstorm threat as we go through the day today. We get this second batch through, and it looks like, at least right now, the stronger storms could remain down into northeastern Oklahoma, but many of us still getting in on some additional much-needed rainfall through about the noon hour. Once that batch moves out, we're going to have a pause. Now, we could still see isolated scattered thunderstorms out there through the afternoon, and then we'll see round 3 later this evening start to develop, say around 7 out in Elk and Chautauqua counties, and that'll start to move in through the late evening hours tonight and early overnight hours, the early morning hours of tomorrow. Some of those could be strong, possibly severe. And then as we head into Thursday morning, we get about 4 a.m. Here comes round 4 of more showers and thunderstorms across the area. And as we go through the first half of our Thursday, even those could be strong, possibly low-grade severe. So for today, we have a very low tornado threat. No specific areas highlighted, which is great. We have the elevated hail threat for parts of southeast Kansas and northeastern Oklahoma. And then everybody's got that elevated wind risk. And that's really the primary concern with these thunderstorms through today and into the evening hours is some strong damaging wind gusts, say 60, 70 miles an hour out there. Our severe threat, though, continues. We have that low wind risk with these thunderstorms through the first half of our Thursday. And then we go back to an elevated risk for strong to severe thunderstorms on Friday. Now, these are expected to be scattered like today, but the storms we see could get a little unruly as we head into our Friday. All right, 20th and Rangeline, MoDOT camera there. We are looking cloudy in Joplin, and we are also cloudy from the KDOT camera at 69 and East 520th Avenue, just south of Pittsburgh. And there's another look at those clouds from our camera at 7th and Rangeline out there. We're sitting at 70 in Joplin. Dew point humidity, of course, are going to be up there. Because of that, those of us that get a little warmer today could see heat index values pushing around 100 degrees out there. So let's talk about temperatures right now. We're at 66, Iola Yates Center, 70 in Chanute, 69s in Pittsburgh, Parsons, Chetopa, 71, Miami, Veneta, Anderson, and 70 Neosho, Monette, and Carthage. And as we get our morning started, We'll have those thunderstorm chances continuing as we go into the morning hours. Temperatures hovering right around the low to mid 70s. And this is what I was talking about. Our high temperature today, there should be a little star here. There's a caveat with it. Those of us that see a little more clearing, I'm not talking necessarily more sunshine, just less rain, and they see it a little earlier or a little longer, could make it into the low 90s. And even from the low 90s, we could see those heat index values pushing close to 100, maybe even 105, because humidity and dew point levels will be so high. Some of us, however, may not make it out of the 80s, but all of us still looking at those scattered thunderstorm chances across the area. We'll have another look at your forecast and the news you need to know when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. On Tuesday, firefighters responded to a house fire in the Breckenwood neighborhood of Carthage at just before 1:15 p.m. The family had made it out safely out of the house and no firefighters were injured. Chief Ryan Huntley says spent fireworks had been placed in a trash can next to the structure. He says that area is where the fire originated. And a crash in Berry County, Missouri sends one person to the hospital in serious condition. The crash happened July 4th around 7 p.m. 1 mile west of Golden, Missouri. 2012 Honda Civic skidded and traveled off the right side of the roadway and struck a 2014 Mazda 2. Mazda then struck a pedestrian. The driver of the Mazda was airlifted to an area hospital. No word on the pedestrian. Evergy looks to increase electric rates. The company filed an application with the Kansas Corporation Commission requesting the increase for both Evergy Kansas Central and Evergy Kansas Metro. Evergy Kansas Central includes Pittsburgh, Parsons, Fort Scott, and Independence. If approved, residential customers in those cities could see an average monthly increase of more than $14. Authorities arrest 3 people in connection with the burglary of a Lamar business. When officers responded to the business early in the morning last Thursday, they noticed 2 people leaving the building with stolen property. Authorities say those 2 men, Derek Payton of Columbus and Frank Cheney of Pittsburgh, have been arrested and charged with burglary. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
We've got the possibility of some strong, maybe severe thunderstorms out there through the afternoon, evening, and overnight hours. Some of us could make it into the low 90s with heat index values approaching 100. Others may not make it out of the 80s as we go through the day. As we head into the evening, again, a few of those scattered thunderstorms out there could be strong, possibly severe. Overnight lows into the mid 70s. We'll have some strong storms for the first half of our Thursday, mid 80s, and then another round of scattered thunderstorms Friday that could be strong, possibly severe as well. Thunderstorm chances remain scattered heading into the start of next week, and temperatures begin to climb back into the low to mid 90s.
Well, did you know today was this month is National Ice Cream Month?
I did not, but it sounds like a good month for it.
And we're celebrating by making thick, frosty chocolate shakes in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
All right. And your morning news, of course, continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. The summer surge of American tourists in Europe. Why cities in Italy are increasingly popular destinations this year. That's what's coming up on CBS Mornings.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, no one knows the arts and culture scene in Joplin quite like Connected Culture does. And we've got Emily Frankowski, the director of C2C, here this morning to tell us all about what's coming to the city.
Plus, Holly Miner from the K-State Extension Office stops by this morning, and when she's done with us, we'll all be grocery planning experts. So some great advice coming up for you. That's going to wrap it up for us for now. Of course, we'll continue to track the storms as they move through the area this morning, and we'll be back here with you again tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.